Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Toon Review YouTube channel for tonight's instant reaction to Newcastle United's defeat at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium by 4-1. An absolute nightmare from start to finish. Billy joins me. Billy, commentating on that game was pretty awful today because we just didn't get going at all.
No, it was from minute 1 to minute 90, we were under the cosh, well and truly beaten by a very good Spurs side. Whether that's down to quality or whether that's down to fitness is another question. We'll come on to that, I guess, in due course.
Well, I think quality, it's a bit of both for me, Billy, quality and fitness. But today, and some people won't like what we're going to say here, but you have to question the manager's decision to play the same 11 yet again. It hasn't worked. And look, we've been talking about this for a long time now about, when will fatigue catch up with us? And everybody talking, saying, well, what's he supposed to do? What's he going to do? Play the kids. You've got an academy there. Play the bloody kids. You can't expect players like Kieran Trippier, a 33-year-old, to go out there every 3 days and play Premier League games, Champions League games. It's not going to work. And, whether we got pummeled today or not with or without the kids, Wednesday night is a huge game for Newcastle United because even if we stay in the Europa League, Billy, it's still Europe. It's still a competition that we can do quite well in, given the signings we make in January, plus everybody coming back from injury. It's a vital game. But Eddie seems to have this fixation on concentrating on that game only without looking ahead. And I understand that to a certain degree. But sometimes when you're in this position, you have to look ahead.
Well, 100%. I mean, you haven't got to change all 11 plays in one foul swoop. You can bring in 2 for one game, rest 2, rest another 2 the next game, 2 or 3 at a time. It's not a case of resting the whole 11. You do it over a series of 2 or 3 games. We could have rested 3 or 4 against Everton, brought them back in today. The players that were rested another 3 or 4 today. And then gone Milan with a virtually fully strength side, fully fit. And we haven't done it. He doesn't look at the big picture. It's a massive failing, in my opinion. However, that could be down to an experience. He's not been at this level before.
Of course. Yeah.
Success breeds kind of these amount of games that you play.
Yeah.
So I'm not writing him off just yet. However, it is a bit concerning because we've all said it. We've all said that the lack of fitness, the fatigue that we're getting by playing so many games in such a short space of time is going to catch us up. It caught us up Thursday. So why the hell did he think it was going to work today? I don't know. Honestly, don't know.
It's now just 5 points out of an available 24, I think, now, Billy, from away games. And that does become a problem. And we know that Eddie Howe is bothered about this because he's mentioned it in his last 2 press conferences before both these recent away games at Everton and Tottenham. So he is fully aware of the problem away from home. Now, Eddie hasn't used injuries as an excuse any time that he's been interviewed, which is hats off to Eddie. Now, I must say that me and Billy are not in the Eddie Howe out or Eddie Howe can't take us any further crap that we see regularly on social media and in the chat during the watch along. Eddie Howe has done remarkable things at this football club and given time will do remarkable things to come. I am under no illusion that Eddie Howe is our manager for years to come. But he will make mistakes along the way. And when he makes mistakes, we have to pick up on the mistakes. And I think 80% of the fans, Billy, certainly now watch along today, we're all saying that he's got it wrong. Just bring the kids in. When we went 3-0 down, why not just make 5 changes? Just take 5 of the first teamers out, take them off the pitch, give them a bit of a rest ahead of the game. But he doesn't. He makes intermittent changes. And then, of course, the Trippier one with 4 minutes left, it just didn't make sense. You're going to bring Trippier off, bring him off a lot earlier than that. So he is going to make mistakes. And you can criticise. It doesn't mean you want the manager out just for criticising the decision for a mistake.
Yeah, the Trippier one with 4 minutes to go told me that he was trying to look at Emil Kraft at right back because he knows he's got to play in the Fulham game next Saturday.
Yeah.
Because of Trippier's suspension. It wasn't anything to do with resting Trippier, I don't think. Because you don't get any benefit of 4 or 5 minutes rest, are you? I agree with you. I think once the game was gone, he could have made wholesale changes. Could have made the 5 changes and invested a few players just for a little bit of respite. I mean, we saw the bounce we had after half time, after a 15-minute respite. We looked a much better side for 10 minutes until the fatigue wore back in again, and Spurs start to cut through us again. It's something that people don't kind of take notice of, this fatigue in football. You've got to be in professional sports at your elite level 100% of the time, and once you're not, you get found out, and we're getting found out because of that. Everton Thursday today, Bournemouth was another example of it. Playing all these games in a short space of time. Players can't do it. They can't perform at their ultimate level. That's when they've been playing such an amount of games in a short space of time because they're not fit enough. And players we're playing against who are rested, they might not be as good, but they can run further and quicker than what our players can. And football's about that, isn't it, these days?
It is. And the thing that frustrates me, Billy, is, we saw the likes of Alex Murphy in pre-season, and I know it's only pre-season, but that's the whole point of pre-season, is having a look at your squad and seeing what the younger players can do when they come in. And a lot of them didn't do too badly at all. And Alex Murphy, I was really impressed with, but he's been on the bench a few times, not being used. Lewis Hall came on today, not particularly great, I have to say, but he wasn't used at all. And maybe we've seen why today, but he can't keep doing this. He hasn't got the. Well, he might have now with players coming back, of course. I mean, we saw Callum Wilson come back today, and he was bossing it for the minutes he was on the pitch, Billy.
One bright spot of the day was Callum Wilson coming back and looking so sharp. You know, what we've lacked really in that side is a centre striker who's a focal point of the attack, and that just hasn't been that. And Wilson came on, and within 2 seconds of him being on, he was buzzing around, winning the ball, chasing, pressing. And that's the key to it all. If we go away from home and don't press, that's when we start looking poor. And and I can't remember a game at Sheffield United aside where we pressed to the nth degree, where we've gone away from home this year and pressed for so long. Did it in spells at Wolves, did it in spells at West Ham, and looked pretty good for it. But in the other games, we haven't done any pressing, and we've been hoided, given good audience for it.
Yeah. I mean, we had opportunities in the first half, of course, the ball across from Anthony Gordon, which in the end was very good defending from Ben Davies. And then it bumped up under the shin of Isak. But then Miggy again, an opportunity, to get us a goal. And that again, you just don't know what a goal is going to do for the foreseeable of the match. If we'd have scored there, the tails are up. We again, as similar to the Everton game, a very, very weak left foot shot, which is his best foot. How he can score these blinders from the edge of the box, curling them in, and then when he's literally 6-7 yards from goal, he can't shoot.
Yeah, I think Nicky's got 2 or 3 things at the minute. I think the fatigue is obviously one, but I think because of the fatigue, I think he's got a little bit of a lack of confidence in front of the goal at the minute.
Yeah,
and that's not going to change until he scores. Whenever that'll be, who knows? But it's not going to change. We feed him the ball. He cuts inside. He takes these shots. And last season they were going every time. This season he's missed a few, and people are getting critical of him quite rightly because he is nothing but a workhorse and doesn't contribute anything else to the team at the minute.
Yeah.
It's
and not everybody's going to agree. Not everybody is going to agree on everything to do with Newcastle United losing or winning. These are just simply mine and Billy's opinions of what we're seeing game in, game out. We see every game, and it's just something is wrong, and clearly fatigue is kicking in. The lads are mentally and physically drained. But do you look at the manager? Do you look at the manager and say he should have done things different at Everton or should have done things different today? Should he start looking ahead to the, of the bigger picture? Thinking, right, we've got a massive European game on Wednesday. Is it right to go with the same 11 that played 2 days ago at Goodison and got an absolute hiding? For me, it wasn't the right idea. I think Trippier was still suffering today. Son just had him on toast most of the game. I did think, though, Billy, that Joe Linton was a bright spark today. Not so much in the first half, but second half, he never let his head go down. He was physical. He was getting in the faces and, of course, scored a really good goal. I think Joe Linton comes out of this with a bit of credit from today.
Yeah, no kind of surprise that it was out on the left wing when it happened. Through the middle, he looked anonymous in the first half. He was, their middle of the park, Basuma and Sarr were outstanding, weren't they? And Kulusevski dropping back and helping at times, and Son also. And he looked anonymous. But second half, when he was pushed out wide, he got into the game a bit more. Looked a better player for it and scored a really good goal, actually. A great finish. Yeah. And he could have had another one, really, for the head of the far post. But, yeah, I thought he played well second half, Joe. I think 2 or 3 of them did, to be honest. But you need more than 2 or 3 performing at once to get any kind of result at the Tottenham Stadium. You've got to all be in it from the minute 1 to minute 90. and we're never going to be, will they? And it's a never-ending kind of slide, because to me now, Wednesday's game's gone. And he's going to put the same plays out Wednesday, which then makes, to me, Saturday's game potentially gone also. It's a never-ending slide. You're not going to recover because they're never getting any rest. You know, and
let's be honest, it's two difficult games because Fulham are flying at the minute. 10 goals in their last two games. They are absolutely buzzing right now. Yeah. And they've got nothing to lose coming to St James's Park. Absolutely nothing. They'll be absolutely flying.
They'll love coming to us on the back of two games. You know, we'll have played twice since they last played. You know, they'll be dying to get at us next Saturday. Absolutely, especially if we have to put the same. Well, we won't because Drippy is suspended, but the vast majority of the side will be the same unless we get players coming back. They'll be up for that. They'll be well up for it.
Now, a lot of people did mention Martin Dubravka in the watch along chat, Billy. 2 games, 7 goals against. He doesn't look particularly good, I have to say. You know, the penalty incident, I just don't know why he came with his feet. Why isn't he coming with his hands trying to smother the ball? He's diving in with his feet. Son knocks the ball around him. It's a penalty all day long. And then, you know, Son's drive across the box, he just... Look, Martin Dubravka's been a good servant to the football club, but you know, we've got keepers who aren't in contract with anybody and stuff like that. Or do we turn to Karius? You know, is that needed? Or does he say to Martin Dubravka, look, you know, yes, you've conceded, but go again Wednesday, prove yourself?
Well, I always felt actually that if Nick Pope had stayed fit, then Martin would have been sold in January. I honestly believe that. I believe, you know, a keeper who could got some money for, I think he'd have gone in January, but now obviously he's been pushed in and he hasn't really covered himself in glory at all, has he? The penalty incident, if Nick Pope's in goal, that doesn't happen because he's out quicker and he stops the ball from getting to Son in the first place. Yeah. Or at least gets a hand to it when it's at his feet. Yeah. So I don't think that would have happened. His position at times is a bit rougher, you know, beating his near post against Everton. You know, he's, like you say, he's conceded 7 goals in less than 72 hours and 2 or 3 have been his fault. So, yeah, I think maybe look at a goalkeeper in January. And if maybe get De Gea in, I mean, people are saying no to De Gea, but God, he's streets ahead of mine, Dubravka, let's be honest.
Well, I agree. I agree that he is. And look, the thing is, we mentioned fatigue, but you have to look at the bigger picture. And we can't just keep blaming fatigue week in, week out, right? We have to look at why the fatigue is kicked in. Yes, we have injuries, but we also have a squad. And we've mentioned a million times. I'm putting this defeat down to the fact that Eddie Howe hasn't, I don't know whether brave's the right word, Billy, you know, brave enough to make the changes, or whether it's just a stubborn side of Eddie Howe that he refuses to, you know, refuses to change anything. Is it the tactics of teams worked out our formation now, the 4-3-3? You know, the way Everton and Spurs have dominated the midfield the last 2 games. You know, that has to be a worry, as if to say, right, have teams worked us out? Is it now time to change something tactically or formation-wise?
Well, it is if you can't perform at that intensity level, because intensity was our identity. But if you've not got the physical abilities of performing to that intensity, then you're not going to be, you know, performing at full strength, really. So if you can't do it at that, you've got to have something else, and we haven't, have we? There's no pressing away from home. We do it at home because we have the crowd behind us and it G's them up. But away from home, you know, teams know that, well, they don't know that there's no pressing at all. And from minute one, they're able to dominate us. Yep. And until we get that press back and that intensity back, then it's going to be the same all the way through. So, yeah, he does need a plan B, but he doesn't have one at the minute, which is kind of, it's a sorrowful thing to say. But I just saw the incident while Callum Wilson and Vicario were having a go at each other. Do you remember the header that Wilson had that went into Vicario's arms? Yeah. As Vicario ran out, he looked at Wilson and kind of laughed at his face like that. Pretty unprofessional, shitty thing to do, actually. Yeah, absolutely. But there you go, guys. Listen, we're down at the minute, but we know that Newcastle United has always been a massive roller coaster ride where we do go up and down. We have highs and lows throughout every season we seem to play. But let us know in the comments what you think. Did Eddie get it wrong? Has he got it wrong during this injury crisis, not being brave enough or forward enough to put the kids in? You know, some people say, oh, he had no choice. He's had no choice. He has had a choice, but he hasn't made that choice. And has it come back to bite him in the arse? You know,
we're not in the Eddie Howe out camp. We never will be, to be honest. All we are doing is picking up on mistakes that maybe Eddie's made, and he will make some going forward. But what do you think in the comments? Let us know. Has he got it wrong? Where are you feeling we go from here? What does he do for Milan? Does he change formation? Does he take tactics? Have we been found out? Let us know in the comments, and we'll chat about them in the official match review show tomorrow. Don't forget that at 7 o'clock with me and Billy, and we'll also give you the player ratings for the game. But thank you very much for watching the instant reaction. Please do hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel and you like what you see. Don't forget to hit the notification bell, which will let you know when we upload any videos or we schedule our live shows. And of course, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. Very, very important to the channel. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you very soon. Take care.
Goodbye.